welcome back, everybody. I found some pictures and videos of the Cob House build that I didn't know we even had anymore. I was going through an old phone and I found these gems, and I thought I would share them with you before I got into what we've been doing this past weekend on the house. So many of you know we started out with an outdoor kitchen. We wanted to kind of get used to what the right mixture of the cob would be and what would be strong. We had built with cob a little bit before we started doing this on our property, but not enough to really know what we were doing yet. So we started out with this cob oven. We shaped him like a fish. This was before he had all of his personality, but this was our first firing. And we eventually put in a small chimney to help that draft a little bit better, but still be able to hold in the heat. And there he is. You can tell a little bit more in that picture. He's a fish. He's pretty cute, I think. We baked some pizzas and some bread in there. And as many of you know, we started out with an existing barn foundation and built our cob house on that. We enclosed the back patio as well, and that has become our mudroom and our bathroom area. This is one of the first internal walls on the house that was built, and you can see one of our friends there helping out. You'll see a lot of our friends in these pictures. This is our north-facing wall. That's the outer wall of our bedroom and kitchen area. And then this is the old barn basement wall that we kept up. It's a pretty cool feature of the house. We just wanted to have something that kind of commemorated the old barn. You'll see we've used some glass bottles and some glass bricks in the walls to give it some beauty. A lot of people do that with cob, and it's really cool. You can't really tell in this picture, but those bottles are actually blue there in the bathroom. And then we've also, throughout the house, incorporated live edge wood shelves that are buried into the cob. This is that south-facing wall with all the windows. As those windows were going in, you can see the fresh cob is dark brown, hasn't dried yet. And then this is our west-facing wall. We've got a stack of windows that faces out that way. Eventually, that will have a really beautiful view of the valley. These are the windows up in the loft. As they were going in, you have to brace them up to get them stable as the cob dries around them. We also put screws in the side or nails to help them grip into the cob and hold in place. You can see that we've used our shelves, made good use of them. In a lot of these pictures, we've got tools and things like that sitting on them. And this is when the loft beams were just beginning to go in. And then we've just got some boards laid across them. We just kind of use it as scaffolding until we actually put the flooring down in those lofts. And you can see just how tall the house actually is, just how high the roof line will be. These trees are pretty big, and that's what the ridge pole runs across. This is another view from up in the loft. As those windows were getting cobbed in, you can see again that we've used some blocks in the wall, and this is our east-facing wall out towards the road. This is a cool view from up in the loft, looking down on the construction that was going on. There's a lot going on. There's scaffolding and bracing. We made sure that we braced those trees really well until we could get them really fastened into the ground, and we knew that they weren't going anywhere. This is a view into our bedroom. That's now what we call the turret, but that's when we were just starting to build the turret, which is actually part of our closet, but it's pretty neat. It looks like an old castle turret. There's a view of the loft again, and then this is me working on our north-facing wall. Our north-facing wall was, I think, the last wall to get up to the height that we needed it to be. So we started to have what we call cob parties, and we had friends over to help us build, and we would get so much work done at once. It was just amazing. Many hands make light work, I think is the way the saying goes. And it really is true. This wall had been standing for a while, the south wall, and that's why we eventually put a roof over that, a temporary one. It's going to be a front porch anyway, but we kind of extended that over to protect it while we worked on getting the rest of the house up to the height that it needed to be so that the rest of the roof could start going on. You can see some other small windows going on that west-facing wall. And here's a picture of everybody helping us out. We divide up the cob and make it into cob balls so that we could throw them at each other. It just makes it easier. You make a big train and kind of toss them. There's that turret. That's a cool view of it as it's going up. And then this is what happens when you throw cob balls at each other. Somebody ends up getting it in the face, but that's okay. It's still fun. These are my boys. It's so cool to look back at these pictures and see how much everybody's changed because those of you that follow our channel, you know we've been building this house since like 2020. So a lot's changed over the years. But we did have so much fun at these parties with our friends, and it's really cool because we've even had some little kids come over and help out and play in the mud. Just about everybody can do it. Cob is one of those things that brings people together because just about everybody can do it. And we're just really thankful for all the people over the years that have showed up to help us. It really has been a joyous time just listening to music and enjoying the sunshine. And it's hard work. At the end of the day, everybody's a little bit sore and probably ready to go home by that point. But it feels good to know that you've accomplished all of that.
Video! Wave! Ew!
We have just so many good memories from those days. And we got so much done. If you look at these pictures, you can see the dark brown is all the fresh cob that had went on the walls those days. And we pretty much had went around the entire top of the cob house, got so much done. So like I said, everybody's really sore, but really fulfilled when all that's done. I told you we had put a porch out on that south-facing wall, and we went ahead and put some metal up and let it hang over to kind of protect that, because once you put those windows in and things like that, you really leave that cob open for damage, to take damage. So you want to get all that protected. And here we get into the more recent pictures now where we're actually starting on the roof. Those big trees got notched out. And then like I showed you the other day, we used that Japanese wood burning technique. Not only is it beautiful, but it preserves the wood. And so once we laminated those big wide beams together, we ended up with one really long, strong ridgepole, and that's what we need to support the size of roof that we're gonna have. And so what you guys have been seeing us do recently is take the old salvaged barn beams that we have and start to put those up on the roof. We've done some laminating of beams just because we didn't have any barn beams that were quite the length that we needed. So we've done a little bit more of our cross beams in the same technique that we did with our ridge pole. And then this is what we were up to this weekend. Lapse, you'll see Frankie picking out exactly where our last big tree needs to go. It's going to go just outside that front door, and it will be the last big tree that will be supporting the ridgepole as it comes across the front door and out past the front porch. We had to dig a big footer for that and pour some concrete, and so that's what we did this past weekend. We knew we had to get it done as soon as possible because it is almost Thanksgiving and it's going to be too cold before you know it for concrete to cure and dry. So we used our handy dandy backhoe to help dig the hole and then Frankie kind of tamped things down and measured them out and made a form for the concrete. And then our good friend Ron Copperman helped us to mix the concrete and get it poured. this is an old concrete mixer that we picked up in southern Indiana. Found it on Marketplace, of course. Bought it off of a guy. And we thought we were going to mix cob in it originally. And I don't know, cob's just a little bit too heavy for it. So, but we are getting some use out of it. These old machines, you can't beat them up enough. They just keep working and working and working, it seems like. But you can see we've got about 50 bags of concrete over there. Those are 60-pound bags. And then we've got more wood so that we can get some more beams laminated to go along with the barnwood beams that we have. Instead of closing this work day out with a bonfire, I closed it out in my recliner inside my cozy house that's decorated for fall. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep in my chair, but that's not uncommon for me. It might be an old trailer that we're staying in until the cob house gets built, but it's pretty cozy, especially with our warm wood stove. I hope you're staying warm, and I hope you'll join us for more videos soon. We'll try to make one next week for y'all. Jasper says bye.